Well, it's dried. I painted this inside here. Good primer. I cleaned up my horn and primed it and mounted it in there. It honks. I don't know about the other one. It's probably really nasty down in there. I got my chrome pulley here, and I'll see what I can do about putting it on. And since I have to loosen up this alternator, I think I'll pull it out. Where I brush it, it's aluminum. It should look pretty decent. Clean up that bracket there and sort of move forward a little bit more on the front of this motor. I got me my new bolts came for the front valence. I decided not to use that thing. I ordered another one. I got lots of parts today. Here's my new chrome foo-foo. It ought to look quite a bit better than this one here. I shouldn't be wasting money on chrome, but that's the way it goes. Just cleaning this all up, it looks pretty decent. Compared to the other side, it looks terrible. I talked to Kentucky Mustang today. Turns out that the connector there that I need is off a 66 Mustang with dash lights. So apparently somebody put gauges in this one. So anyway, I'll figure it out whenever I get it. Well, I pulled the battery out of this thing, and the battery tray is gone. And also the inner fender that goes to the front of the firewall is all eat out. I could probably get a new battery tray, but I'm going to have to put a patch panel in here. I don't know exactly what I'm going to have to do there. Probably have to pull that front valence out. I should be able just to put a piece of flat steel in it. But anyway, I'm gonna start pulling this old nasty alternator out of there and see what it looks like under that. Got the alternator loose. Have to take the alternator out to get the horn out with that fan in there. So it means I gotta clean up the horn first and then put everything back in. Here's the horn, the right one. Battery acid was leaking down inside it. It was full of white dust and stuff. I just blew it off good with air. I'm going to take a wire brush to it here and cleaned it up a little. I checked it, it wouldn't honk. I imagine that it's not only contact's bad, but probably rusted up too. So I'm going to clean it up and see if I can lubricate it and file them points and get it to work. Mr. Horn wouldn't work at all. I took this cover off. Got 4 places it's clipped there. And it's got like a solenoid that moves up and down. And that hits a set of contact points and makes it buzz. It was rusted shut. But I was able to bang around on it. And I got it freed up, and it does honk. I started cleaning it up, and I think I'm going to pull that bracket off of there. All this bracket and stuff's full of grease, and motor's greasy. So I'm going to take that bracket off there so I can get to it. I should be able to clean this up. I ordered another battery tray. They were pretty cheap. But I need to make a patch right here. I can probably just make an L patch, clean it up good, and weld it right over the, probably cut it in the middle or something like that. So anyway, this is probably half a day's work to make that patch, but I got to do it. I can't have a rusty old box with holes in it and try to sell it as a good car. So I got a lot of work still and never did get to my chrome foo-foo. Chrome foo-foo. Got stuck on a horn, but I spent a couple hours on it. I got it to work, so that saved about $50-60. I could get some kind of cheap aftermarket horn, but I want to get the original. And since I got to put it in first anyway, that's why I started cleaning it up. But I'll go ahead and take out what's left of this battery tray, and I can get to that frame pretty good. Take off that bracket and I can get to the front of the motor. I'll just clean this all up and prime it like that side. Should look pretty decent. Tough a job as I thought. I got this cut out. Got me a patch panel made for it. Looks like I'm going to be able to cover the whole thing up. And I painted the back side of this so it won't rust. So that looks like it's going to fit pretty good. I can hammer that corner over and weld it, and I'm pretty sure that'll be good enough, especially once I paint it. And I got a lip on the, ouch, got a lip on the inside there going up, so I'll be able to tack it into that valance. It was pretty rusted there, but I think, you know, this is going to be under the battery tray anyway. Nobody's really ever going to see it, and it'll look pretty good from the bottom. So main thing is I've got a good solid piece of metal in there. I think it'll be just fine. Start tagging it in, bending over these edges. Well, there's my patch, about half welded in. Don't look too bad. On that, seems like putting more burn holes in it than I was solving. So I'm going to fill these corners and stuff with bondo, and I think we'll be good enough for that. It's not the best in the world, but it's good and strong, a solid piece of metal there. I'll spray it with undercoating and it'll look pretty good. It's all going to be under the battery box anyway. Got all these brackets and stuff off of here. I just barely got that pulley off that fan. It's so close I had to push the fan in a little. I cleaned this up best I could. I put some carburetor cleaner on it and I blew it off good with air hose. It looks like there's grease on it. Yeah, it might be. Yeah, I'm still getting quite a bit off of it. So anyway, wish I had some water cleaner. I'd spray it, let it soak. But anyway, when I first got this, I couldn't find an oil stick. It goes in this hole right here. Now, I bought a new stick for it. I think what I'm seeing there is the top of one that's broke off. So I'm gonna try to see if the stick will fit in it and see what I got. Looking at it, that it's not right. This is no way that this is going in there. So what that is the broken end of the oil filler tube. And I don't know where this mounts. I would assume it goes like that somehow. Maybe right here to under the head. I'm not sure. I'll worry about that later. But I've got to get that out of there. And I don't know if I can grab it with vice grips and squish it down enough to get a hold of it and then pull it out, or what I'm going to have to do. But that's one of the reasons I never tried to put the stick in it, because it had to take all the stuff off. But anyway, now that I'm there, I'll try to get that thing out of there and get that all painted before I put the new stick in it. So I have black and blue and not a blue stick too. Getting anywhere with that. I made me a special tool here, a screwdriver that I cut down to almost nothing. Tried to drive it in there and collapse it, but that's not really working. So what I was thinking about doing is taking my little bitty Sawzall guy and filling that whole tube with grease to keep the metal chips from falling down into the oil pan. and split it on at least one side. And once I split it, then it should be pretty easy to collapse. And it's only about an inch long or so. And my blade's 3 or 4 inches long, so I think I can split that end and I can fill that hole with grease. And should stop most of my chips, but the other solution is to take that whole oil pan off of there and the timing cover. And I'm pretty sure that means the crank pulley, and you probably got a day's work to take that all apart and put it back together. And if I can split it with that little sawzall, it's a little body saw, maybe I can do that in 20 minutes, and any metal chips are going to go down into the pan. They got to go through the filter and the screen, so I don't think I'll be too bad hurting that motor. It's either that or a day's work, so I'm going to try the little sawzall. I got it. I cut it in 2 places, and I was able to get my little modified screwdriver down in there. There we go. So it looks like the grease filled it up pretty good. I cut it mostly through there. Anyway, I got it out. You can't really tell what's don't look like I scored it very bad at all. Anyway, I'll clean that out, and I'll put the new one in with some silicone. I'll save myself a day's work. By the way, these what do I do with it? Little body saws. There it is. They're really good. They have about a 1/4 of an inch stroke. Brrr! And they're good for cutting sheet metal or whatever. I really like them because they'll go down in a hole and cut from a hole. Very handy little tool, and they weren't that expensive. Motor all cleaned up and painted. Looks like I got a little place right there. So now it looks pretty good. I got a little drip there. It's leaking water from pulling out the water pump bolts. But I'm about ready to figure out where this goes. It looks like it goes right there, but I don't see how it mounts. It goes down an inch, probably right there in that bolt. Yeah, I'm not sure, but Looks like I still got some light blue. Oh, that's the pan down in there. I can paint that pan from the bottom. And I probably have to take off my radiator hose there. I can paint that fully by turning the motor over. But looks like the block is good. I'll just figure out how to get my dipstick tube down in there and pound it in. I should be good to go. I had quite a bit of trouble getting it in, but I finally did. I had to cut that bracket off. I couldn't see where it was fitting anywhere, but I got it down in there and the dipstick fits it. It ain't going nowhere. It's really solid. I don't really particularly need that bracket. Good enough. And I think I can get my brackets on without hitting anything now. Inner bracket, it was touching. I just bent it a little bit. It's going on fine. I need to pull that alternator tensioning bracket off there and paint it black. So I'm getting close to putting this thing back together. I still have to clean up my patch here, but what I was trying to get now was all that motor painted good in the front, which I did, and I had cleaned up my brackets and painted them, so they look good enough. Put my chrome foo-foo on there. It's too big. The one to come off is 5.8 inches. That's 6.1. It just won't fit. So 5.8 is about right there somewhere, and it just won't interferes with that bottom pulley. So now I got to try to send that thing back. Kind of a pain in the butt. It was kind of expensive. If it wasn't, I'd just keep it, but kind of pisses me off that they sent me the wrong one or wrong size. Camera's kind of messing up a little, but I did get it out, and dipstick goes in. It's a little over full, so somebody probably just tried to make sure. But now I can change the oil, take that filter off, put 5 quarts of oil in it, and I'll see exactly where it's at. But anyway, motor's moving along. I can put my little pulley on there when it's dry tomorrow, and I should be able to clean up that whole side there and prime it. We'll see. Don't seem like it ever quits. I just hung the alternator. Looks pretty decent. I cleaned it up with a wire brush. I need to do a little better job, but just hanging there for now. And my oil dipstick tube works okay. I need to file that end a little bit, kind of beat it up, pounding it in, but it's a quart over full. So I'm not sure I got that dipstick down in there all the way, so it's probably even more. but I'll change the oil and filter, and then I'll mark it where full is. That's good for now. Well, this was, could get to one of the bolts on that battery brace, and the other one was under the this thing here. It goes on the frame, and in order to get that out, I had to take the valence out to get the brace out. So I take the bumper off. Of course, the bolts were all rusted up. Here's the bumper. You can see what it looks like inside there. It looks pretty straight, but I'm pretty sure the chrome is no good. But I got the valence off. This one here is going to be, looks pretty straight actually. I bought another one, a brand new one. I just didn't like the looks of this mess in here. I probably could have fixed it, but I figured it'd take me less time to just put a new one on than it would be to try to fix this thing. So now I get under there and try to get these bolts out of here. They're rusted up pretty bad. Dark in there, but you can sort of see them in this area here. There's one, there's one. Of course, the battery acid ran down there and caused a lot of rust. There's the bottom of my patch. You see where the bondo's running down there. That's the holes that I couldn't weld up, but I'll grind all that off and spray undercoat on it. But for now, I'll try to break these two bolts loose, get that thing out of there. Well, that back bolt there come out pretty easy. The other one, it just turned on the nut. So I took a cutting wheel and cut it off of the bracket. Bracket's pretty chewed up. And I was able to get it out. Took a wire brush. This frame is pretty bad pitted. Looks like it must have broke a battery or something, and a lot of acid got in it. Got some few rust spots in it there on the side, but for the most part I think it's going to be all right. Under here, I haven't really cleaned it up, but see that top panel there's kind of rusted out. A lot of this frame horn is rusted, but I think I can just wire wheel all this junk off of here, and same thing up here in the front. You can see where my bondo come through. Pull this little valence off of here, but I can wire brush a lot of this out. It didn't really get too structural, and coat this whole thing with some rust converter. Nobody's really going to get under it too much. try to see what's in the back. It's that frame harm will cover it. The rest of this I can patch that top piece up there with some bondo, pound all the edges down and make that look pretty decent, and coat it with undercoating. The rest of this just really filthy. 60 years of dirt. This valence panel's not too bad. I'm not sure if it's right here, if there was something, but it looks pretty straight. I think there's supposed to be a clip over here. I don't know if this is broke. I don't feel like it. Got squished a little, but I don't think it's broke loose. It needs to be, of course, bent to where it's supposed to go. Anyway, quite a bit more work than I was planning on. That's the way it always goes. Looks pretty good from the outside. Then you get into it, everything's messed up. But at any rate, moving forward on this inside part here, I can wire brush it all up about like that bottom and clean it real good, pull off the solenoid, and I can get this all primed pretty decent like that over there. And then this will be the outside, and the other part of this will be another day. Anyway, since I got it cleaned up, I'll put some rust converter on it, work on the rest. Got that sanded and wire brushed down good. Covered it with rust converter. Let that dry and put some paint on it. I need to sand the rest of this, but that did pretty good in there. Actually a little better than this side. Still got to do the inside. It's pretty bad rust. The stuff, the fumes or the dust is really bad. You know, half acid eaten metal. Not good. I was wondering what I was looking at. It was my hand here. Getting old, knock a piece of it off. And anything will keep it from healing. I'll put a band-aid on it and press on. Ready to go. I shot a little here. I'm using my little gun, so I can get down in there. This part here, I put some rust sealer on it, bonded the bottom and sanded it. So, I think I'm ready to go. I'll lower my air gun pressure. Start on this. Oh, here it is, all squirted. We really poured it to it down there in the bottom where those rust pits. It's pretty good. That side, of course, is dry. This is still wet. And I got the bottom under here pretty good. And I got the top place here where the I don't know if you can see that, but that was a plate I welded in. It all looks pretty decent. It was kind of a long day, but kind of got done what I wanted. If I painted my plug wire there, that shouldn't be too big of a problem. But I got the bottom of it down in there real good. You can see a little bondo work in this, but you know, the battery tray is going to go over it. I may clean it up a little right there, but I'm not really trying to hide anything. It's going to have several patch panels in it. This was one of the worst. The passenger side there, it's into the inner wheel well as well. Wheel well as well. Anyway, I'm kind of done here. Get out of these fumes. It's going to look alright, I think, once it's dry. And of course, you know, it needs to be sanded and painted, but it's sure a lot better than it was. Now I can go ahead and continue to put on my alternator and stuff that I need over there while I'm waiting on the battery box.